So for a couple years now, I've always been intrigued by traveler's notebooks, but I've never really put myself out there and picked one up until a couple weeks ago, that is. After years of wanting to check out this notebook, I decided to take the plunge and grab one for myself. And although I originally intended to use it as a journal, I loved the layout and the construction so much that I decided to try bullet journaling in it. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my Traveler's Company haul and all the supplies that I got along with this beautiful traveler's notebook to set it up. And then I'm also going to show you a flip through of my bullet journal setup in this guide so you guys can see exactly how I'm using it to stay organized. So starting with the haul video, before I jump into all the supplies I got to set up this journal, I quickly want to mention that before buying anything, I just grabbed a standard insert I had around the house to try out this size of notebook to make sure I actually liked it before I spent all of my cash on leather covers and other unnecessary but enjoyable accessories. So once I knew that the notebook was something that I would enjoy, then I decided to visit my local stationery store, Paper Plus Cloth, to pick up my own traveler's notebook. In lockdown, the days can kind of feel monotonous, so getting my curbside pickup order in this beautiful craft star paper literally made, if not my day, probably my entire week. I really appreciated the thought and care they put into the packaging, and I just thought it was so thoughtfully packaged, and I really appreciated that. So let's jump into this beautiful craft paper bag and let me show you the things that I got from the store to set up my traveler's notebook. So starting off with the actual notebook itself, this came with a standard camel traveler's notebook, some extra elastics, a piece of paper explaining how to take care of the leather cover, a piece of paper outlining what came in the package itself, and there was also a piece of paper on the front of the packaging, in addition to the plastic and the sticker saying it was the camel color. Oh yeah, and also inside there was a little dust bag, which I'm assuming you use for traveling with your notebook cover if you want to be extra careful, or I'm sure you could also use this to store your notebook if you're not currently using it to write stuff into. Also, what came in here that I'm not showing is a blank insert that was just inserted into the notebook. And that was everything in this starter kit. I also decided to pick up some connecting bands. These guys are like really thick elastic bands that allow you to connect different inserts together, which helps you store more than 2 inserts in your notebook if that's something you want to do. Because I knew I wanted to keep 3 inserts in my cover, I decided to pick these up. And I really appreciated that this packaging came with a little instruction sheet on how to connect inserts in your traveler's notebook. This is definitely part of the process that mystified me the most. So for connecting my 3 inserts together, I just followed these instructions here. Besides the starter kit and the connection bands, I also decided to pick up a couple of the standard dot grid inserts. These have midori dot grid paper in a very nice white color with a 5mm dot grid. I believe each of these have about 64 pages and they run for about $6 each. Based on how I anticipated my setup to be, I decided to pick up 3 of these. Besides the staples that I got from Paper Plus Cloth, I also got a couple of accessories from some other stores as well as from my own personal stash to set up my notebook. The first one of those being these little clear alphabet stamps. I got these from Amazon and I picked them up because I wanted to do some stamping in my journal and wanted a bit of a smaller size of alphabet stamp. I felt like these would perfectly complement my stamps that I currently own, which are these wood alphabet stamps that I have from Micheals. I have these in both the letters and numbers, and I find that they work really well. And with these and the smaller alphabet stamps, I feel like I have a lot of versatility in my stamping arsenal, if you will. Besides the stamps, I knew that I would be using these Midori index clips that I always keep on hand in my own personal stationery stash. These are really good for marking and tabbing off pages, especially when the paper itself is really thin, so I knew I'd definitely be using these in my own setup. I also decided to pick up these alligator clips that I had lying around in a drawer. These are really old and I think they're from the dollar bin at Target. I thought these would be really helpful for holding pages open since the traveler's notebook inserts don't always lie flat. I also have no self-control when it comes to stationery, so I did pick up this gray washi tape from Paper Plus Cloth as well when I got my curbside pickup order. I just really love the gray color of this washi tape and the minimal design, and I thought it would be a really fun addition to my collection. I also fished out this clear stamping block from my drawer, so I could use this with my clear alphabet stamps so I could stamp the stamps on the paper. I think this is from Micheals, but I'm sure you can find this really anywhere. I think they also carry them on Amazon. Alright, last couple of things. I picked up this black ink from Amazon, although I don't recommend getting it there because it was really overpriced, so maybe check out Paper Plus Cloth or your own local stationery store. And then finally, I need a pen, and I could not resist using my Energel pen by Pentel. This one has the gold metal body and a 0.5 Muji refill. So now that I have all of my supplies ready to go, I went in and I actually set up my notebook. And this is where the fun part starts because now I'm going to be flipping through the actual notebook itself and showing you guys how I set up and organized it. So as I mentioned before, this is the standard size of the traveler's notebook, and I decided to include 3 inserts in my setup. The first 2 are dot grid inserts, and then the last one is the plain insert that came with the starter kit. Before I go into what I put in each insert and how I divided up my notebook, I thought I would quickly show you how I actually fit 3 inserts in this notebook and how I kind of assembled the notebook because, as I said before, this part was the most confusing to me when I was checking out traveler's notebooks and trying to get information on them. So I will try my best to explain it, but I am still a bit of a newbie, so I'm sorry if it's not the most professional explanation, but I'm going to try my best. I elected to follow the instructions on the little piece of paper that came with the connecting bands that explained how I should put 3 inserts in my notebook. So one thing I'm not showing you here, but is the first step of this process, is to take out one of your connection bands and stretch it out a little bit. This just makes sure the elastic isn't too tight and it's not going to damage your notebook. Once you have the elastic ready, what you do is you take the connection band and you insert it into the middle of the spine of your first and your third insert. I made sure when I inserted them that the elastic lay flat to the spine so there wasn't any crinkling in the paper. Then I slipped the first and the third insert under the main elastic of my traveler's notebook, and then I took my second insert, opened it to the spine, and slipped that under the elastic of my traveler's notebook as well. To make sure these kind of lay flat against each other, I pulled up all my inserts and kind of pushed them down so they all lay flat, as well as pulling the first and third notebook with the connection band and fitting the second one in between in that little space. So after that attempt of explaining how I assembled my notebook, here's a flip through of all of my inserts. My first insert, which is a dot grid insert, is for my permanent and yearly collections. I started this off by taping in my key, and then I thought I would start off this journal with a really simple cover page that has master plan written in my hand lettering along with 2021 stamped at the bottom. Then I jumped straight into making my future log spread. I decided to do 1 month a page, and for each page the top was for events, and then I left a section at the bottom to record any projects or big tasks that I wanted to complete that month. For this entire yearly setup I did a lot of stamping, and it definitely was far from perfect, but I think that adds to the charm of this setup. So the first 12 pages all kind of look the same, they just have 1 page for each month of the year, and then following my future log are all of my other more permanent collections. Starting off with this project log, this is a spot where I like to record any big projects I want to remember to do. Then I have my yearly milestones, which is a spot to record little wins and accomplishments throughout the year that I want to remember. Then I have a spot to write down all of the books I read throughout the year, and this table allows me to write down the title of the book and the date completed. On the right side, I also use the space for recipes that I want to try, and then the last spread in my permanent collections is this deadline spread, which I'll be using to record all of the deadlines and assignments that are due in my winter semester of grad school. Then I had a couple of blank pages in the middle, and then at the back of this notebook, I decided to set up my memory spreads for 2021. The way I like to record memories and kind of journal everyday moments is to do a 1 line a day style spread. So this pretty much means that I have 2 pages for every month, and within those 2 pages, I have 1 line for every day of the month, where I write a simple sentence about what happened in the day and what was cool that happened, or just really anything that I feel like jotting down. I went ahead and set these up for the entire year, and then I left 1 page at the back for pen testing and testing out all of my ink, because although this paper is really beautiful and white and it has really light dots, it is only 80 GSM, so it is going to have quite a bit of ghosting, as you can see here. So that was my first insert, which is for all my yearly and permanent collections, and I won't be switching this insert out for the rest of the year. But my second insert, which is for my monthly logs and daily logs, will be filled up quite a bit faster, and this is the one that I will switch in and out of my traveler's notebook when I complete it. So here's a look at how I set up these monthly and daily logs in my traveler's notebook. I like to start all my monthly logs with a cover page, just so I have some division between all of the months, and then directly after that, I like to set up a vertical calendar to take note of any key appointments or dates I want to remember. Then I set up a monthly task list. I used the Alistair method to set this up so I could schedule tasks to specific weeks, which just helps me stay a little more organized. And then after this task list, I set up a work timeline so I could map out projects and figure out when I want to get multiple things done so I can reach multiple deadlines. The last spread I set up is a spot to record any due dates I have throughout the month, as well as track some of the habits that I want to keep an eye on. And then at the back, I have all my daily logs. These are pretty consistent with the original bullet journal method. And besides my daily logs for the beginning of March, the rest of the insert is blank and will be filled up with monthly and daily logs as I need to write them out. My last insert at the back is the blank insert that came with the starter kit. I don't have a use for this right now, but I'm thinking of setting it up as a creative journal or maybe a travel journal when that becomes feasible. And after that final blank insert that marks the end of my initial setup of this traveler's notebook, I've kept the decorating pretty non-existent up until now because I want to slowly buy accessories as I need them so I don't bulk up this journal too quickly and fill it with stuff I don't really need. But when I do decide to do some minimal decorating, I'll make sure to record a video so you guys can stay up to date and we can journal together. Besides that, that is the entire haul and setup video that I had planned for you guys. I hope you found this video enjoyable or maybe a little informative. Let me know below if you have any questions, or tell me about your system if you use a traveler's notebook. I'm still really new to all this and would love to hear what you're doing and any tips that you might have. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and are doing well and are staying safe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone!